Hello, everyone. I am Kellie Fitzgerald, your host for the Positive Vibes podcast. Today, I'm really excited about this guest because I've been wanting to get her on the show for a long time and timing finally worked out. So, my guest today is the fabulous Nina Van Such, and I welcome to the show. I have watched your social media posts for some time now. And I've always thought, well, here is a fabulous person who is doing something like I'm doing. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for your love and support. And as you very well know, I always comment, thank you for thinking so. I really believe that I use that on a daily basis with coworkers and just interactions in the public. And I really do believe beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it's always nice to hear and spread that. So thank you. And I feel the same about you.
Well, thank you very much. We were talking before the show about women supporting women and how important that is, especially these days when so many things are going on in the world. And I also teach, and I hear from a lot of my students that, what is happening? What do we do? And I think it really goes back to love and support of each other. So,
It, it really does. We all need mentors. And then when I myself look back on my life and the fond memories that I have of women mentors that may have not realized that they were mentors to
right.
me. Every now and then I'll reach out to someone that really inspired me. For instance, I have this friend. There was a time that I was selling high end contemporary furniture, and she's an interior designer. And oh, she would always, she drilled it in my head. Nina, call me, and would recite her phone number. And I still have it memorized to this day. And one day she showed up when I was working at Saks Fifth Avenue, and she was going through her closet, and she gave me some hand me downs, and was always telling me to come over. I have this for you. I have that for you. And it was things that she made that she knew I would appreciate.
Right.
Now, this is one of the best stories ever. Is she actually gave me one of the Seth books, Jane Roberts. And I held on to that about creating your own reality. And, it was way over my head. But then I found it again, and I'm like, wow, and so it was so neat to tell her that, I finally got it. And I love how the universe will place these things into your life, and when you're ready, you're going to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot to be said for planting seeds, though. And I think when you're on a spiritual type journey, those seeds get planted. And there may be things that are presented to you that are kind of over your head at that time. But later on, what you just said, it's like, boom, oh yeah, that's what that meant. That's so cool. So that's kind of the way it works, I think. I think the universe kind of puts things in our way and says, okay, you're not going to get this now, but we're preparing you.
Absolutely. And then I ended up finding out about Abraham Hicks. And then that's a really neat story too, about how Esther found Jane Roberts' books. And then they were sad, her and Jerry, that she had passed away before they got to speak to her. So it's a neat experience. I grew up Catholic, and religion was always a really scary thing for
Right,
me.
right,
And my mother is from Spain, and just seeing all the symbolism, the church is there, how could you not be influenced by religion growing up seeing all these images?
right, right. I think a lot of people have that background, at least in the West, in the States, their religion is a big thing. So how do you deal with that now? Because there are some things that are taught in religion that are very, no, it's you against this person, and that's not really the way the universe works. How do you handle that?
Exactly. I am very fortunate too that I my father overcame adversity in his childhood. He grew up very poor, and he grew up on a farm. He was born during the
Mm.
Depression, and he was playing around with some farm equipment, and he got a big gash in his pinky finger, and then later gangrene set in, and he lost his finger. And he wanted to go to school. He grew up speaking Slovak. He didn't speak
Mm.
English until he went to school, and he learned how to write with his four fingers. And he did a lot of practice and even won a scholarship in handwriting.
Nice.
So he led me to a lot of things. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence Others. And then I found out that he had taken the course, and I have his certificates and his
Aw,
old books, which is really neat to have, how to stop worrying and start living.
yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing for a lot of people. I think most people is you get so stuck in that worry, and well, that's against me, and this is against me, and that's against me. And I think part of the reason that our souls are here right now is to push through that. You have to learn to let that go. So what works for you? What did you learn from Dale Carnegie?
Well, I mean that he could do anything, and I didn't feel that that he was ever crying about this
Right,
disability, and I remember, well, you know how teenagers are, us just getting in an argument about
yeah.
something, and him just saying, "Do you realize I have four fingers?" And I was like, "You know what? No," because and I
Right,
did it. So when I look back on that now, it really makes me think. I had an opportunity to go to Japan, and they have such consciousness over every little encounter that you
right,
have with them, and looking in your eye, going into a 7-Eleven, just purchasing anything, you're going to be handed your receipt with both hands, and they're going to
right.
look you in the eye, and it's like, wow, I almost wanted to cry over
Right,
everything, because it felt so personal, and it was neat to feel safe in that country. My dad had a lot of fun things all the time. um, I can't wait to see your smiling face.
aw, yeah,
And that's nice,
yeah,
when you can see a genuine smile in someone. I mean, that's a great feeling when someone's really happy to see you.
right, right. I think we miss out on that in Western culture, and that's really all I can speak to. We're
Yes.
we're so go, 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 and money, 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 and succeed, 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 that we've lost a lot of that genuine enjoyment of each other. And I think that's a big, big, big problem when you see people and there it's just, "Oh, okay, I gotta go now." You
Yes.
lose that contact. And I think that is one reason why the US is so divided because we've lost that. Nobody communicates, they don't
It
form that connection.
Well, it's scary, and we have to realize that it is always a 50-50 chance. And when, I was telling you earlier that I do a little ritual before I leave the house, where I think to myself, well, Nina, you're the safe place
Right.
and you're creating safety around you. And that's all that you can do. And it's just for me to hold space for myself because I think when we're not paying attention, that's when accidents can happen. And that's when
Uh,
we get frustrated with ourselves
yeah.
because, everybody wants to be perfect. We feel guilty when we make mistakes. And we have to be conscious to be easy on ourselves when those things happen too. Well, you had a lot on your mind. You weren't paying attention. I do a little check. Okay, everything's off because I don't want to be worrying all day. Did I leave the curling iron on? Did I
Right.
leave the stove on? Consciously leave the house that everything's off,
Yeah.
and then you feel better and you have less anxiety because the world is running around complaining, oh, I have so much to do, I have so much anxiety, but there's things that you could do for free that are safe to manage your anxiety.
Right. And let's talk about that because one of the things that I've tried to teach people, and you never know what sticks, but is to stay in the moment. Whatever you are doing, do that and don't pay attention to all this other stuff around you. For me personally, that helps with my anxiety. Um,
It does, and I think that that's very difficult for people to realize because you'll hear it even in the workplace. Well, you're supposed to be able to multitask. Oh, you're supposed to be able to do this, but you can't do anything
no,
well when you're
no,
all over the place.
no, you
You
can't.
just can't. And so, you have to be able to manage the outside world when they speak that way, also, and just really know how things work. And when you do, um, and that's what really helps because you don't have to correct other people.
Right, right. I had a mentor one time who said the worst thing that Western society has ever done is to put in the heads of people that you must multitask. You must be able to do so many things at the same time because it's very bad overall for us to live our lives like that.
It really is. I mean, I know just because of the chaos that I have had to manage in my life, that it's easier for me to multitask than others. I can get into a zone about it, but at the same time, even it's still not good. I mean, you still, need to drink water, and you still need to eat, and you still need to get sleep.
Right, right.
And you're gonna fall apart unless you do those things. So that's what, until you have a health crisis, I think you take a lot for granted.
You definitely do, and we were talking about that before the show. Um, I think women, everyone in the West has this problem, especially in the United States, but I think women have a tougher time with medical care.
We do.
There is still that stigma of the hysterical woman that was popularized, in the 20s and 30s, and we are past that. And I think, and I had a well, I died last year, so I had a lot of
Oh,
recent experience with
oh
doctors,
my.
and it's just, they tend to not really listen.
They don't, and I'm so sorry to hear that you went through that. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
know.
I'm
And
fine. Yeah.
oh my gosh, and I'm glad you're here. And it is so scary. It really is. There are a lot of culprits. Insurance is one of them.
Yep.
We don't have enough time to really talk to the doctors about things, and because of the way they're billed,
Right.
and they're not allowed to tell you about certain solutions, and just even the fact that they have to paint the grimmest story ever
Right.
is just so difficult. I mean, that I know I could not be in the healthcare business because
Yeah.
of that. I mean, I feel sad for all of them too, because they have a lot of stress over what they're doing. And they do want to help people also. So there's a lot of different sides to it. I always try to watch my diet to manage my health, but then, I learned that things like uh, I ate oatmeal for a long time, that caused minerals to be drained from my body. And I'm angry about that, because I lost teeth over that. I had so much anxiety and pain, and I thought I was being healthy, um, because that was recommended. So, we're all on this journey together to try to get better information to people. I feel sad for people that struggle with arthritis and different fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
All of these mystery illnesses are just very difficult.
They are, and I don't think doctors take things seriously sometimes. I mean, fibromyalgia has been around for decades and decades and decades, and yet it was treated as something that was in your head. I have
Yes.
many people that I know in my life who have fibromyalgia. Um, and it was just, well, you're upset. Well, you're stressed. Well, you're depressed. No, I am physically in pain of that. So they don't do enough research. But
Not at
I want
all.
to go back. Most people who go into the medical profession do it because they want to be of service. They want to help people. But there are some who are in it for the money. And I think that's something that maybe our medical system, our healthcare system has created because we've created this profit. It's all about the profit. Even insurance companies, it's about how much money we can make. And I think that's one thing that needs to shift in the US is
Well, it's true. If it in the area that I live in, there are doctors that prescribe painkillers. They took advantage of
mhm,
insurances for recovery units. And it's terrible when there's scandal. I
yeah,
think every city is experiencing this, and it's so sad for the families of the victims of these facilities and doctors. It really is. I know parents of a son that was in recovery and he was being billed for all these blood tests. Meanwhile, they only drew blood once a month. So it was a way of frauding the insurance
Right.
company. So, there's a lot of factors at fault, and it's so difficult for anyone facing a health crisis to really find the right care.
Right. Yeah, it's really, really difficult. And then you have areas of the country that are underserved. I live in a very rural area. They have a cardiologist that makes one trip a month out here, one trip a month for thousands of patients. So a lot of times it takes many months to get a doctor's appointment. Even not even cardiology, even something like blood work or diabetes treatment. Those things take months and months and months for you to see a doctor. And by the time you see the doctor, well, now you're critical. Now they're gonna put
Yes.
you in the hospital. Where if they had seen you promptly, it would have been alleviated. And that was kind of my own personal situation too. If I had gotten the proper care about this time last year, actually, when my situation started, I would have never gotten sick. But it's a matter of too many patients and not enough people in an underserved area where they're not going to make the amount of money that they would make serving a bigger community. I think that's one of the things that needs to be looked at. I don't have all the answers, but I know that's a problem.
It is a problem. I do have hope for Robert Kennedy Jr. In his recent post of overworking the healthcare system, and hopefully he can help direct our country in the right method. I mean, I do know he does have a heart. His family has faced great tragedy, and
Mhm.
I think, I mean, no kidding. I think the man is risking his life, for this position because he loves our country. I mean, who could be more passionate than he is? Um, it's sad the way things are. I mean, it really is. There's so many more studies that need to be done on women.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we're just scratching the surface now.
Yeah, we are. And I know I've had so many health issues through the years. And when this is my own observation, when I had amazing health care that would cover everything and then some, I was treated like, oh, yes, we're going to get to the bottom of that. We're going to find this out. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And when I went in without that amazing health care, okay, well, there's a 3 to 4 month waiting list and da, 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 da. And it was like I had been teleported to a different country.
Mhm.
These were two events, about 10 years, no, maybe 20 years apart. And it was night and day, night and day. It should not be that way. It should be, you're a patient, you're here, we're going to treat you. And when my previous experience, well, I lost a kidney then, but I had emergency surgery. I had doctors. I had the best urologist in the state. And it was all because of that insurance. I left the hospital not owing a cent. This time around, couldn't get medical care, couldn't get adequate care until I died. Then, they treated me because I died. And then now I'm $100,000 in debt to medical care.
Oh,
That was not sufficient to keep me from dying. So there are some huge issues. And with women, they are bigger. I had, they would offer me antidepressants. They would offer me pain pills, but they
yeah.
wouldn't prescribe the antibiotics that would have saved my life.
Yeah.
So that's a problem that we need to look at. And I don't know that any cabinet position is in a position to fix all of that. I
Well,
think,
you're right. You're
I
right.
think that is a fundamental thing that should begin in maybe med school. You know, maybe we need to be teaching people better.
I do live in close to the Cleveland Clinic, where I'm located. What's really nice is Pittsburgh is close by, and so is Cleveland. And Dr. Mark Hyman, I mean, he really talks that, there are things that we can do. And he talks really highly about that hospital and that it is not just for profit, it is about making people well. So, and that is why he is there. So that is really nice to hear.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, I mean, I I think it is the most important issue. It was the most important issue to me during the election. Um, I don't feel that that topic was addressed as much as it needs to be.
No, it wasn't. And I know you and I have had some similar health issues in the past. Um, and when you're going into, I'm in pain, I don't know what's going on with me, I don't know. What was your experience like? Because mine was interesting. We'll go with interesting. What was your, did you have to have, you had the surgery?
Yes, yes, I did. And, and I did well, what happened was I went in for a routine pap smear and I said that I think something more serious is wrong. And I was seen by a nurse practitioner. And, this was before we were always on smartphones, although I did have techie friends that had them back then. But, or, uh, so I wasn't Googling everything
Right,
as we
right.
now. So, she had um, kind of reprimanded me, even though it was one woman to another. And she said, well, I'm not prescribing a sonogram, so you would have to pay for it out of pocket. And I said, well, that's fine with me because I know something's wrong because I
Right,
can tell, I could feel it.
right, right.
And then it went from that to like, you're dying and you
Yeah.
have to have surgery right
Yep.
away.
Yes. Yeah.
So, that was just like, wow. I, I mean, just the way that I look back on my life is, of course, dealing and managing that pain turned me into an introvert, and healing that trauma has been difficult too because I know I kept a lot of things to myself
Right.
because I didn't expect anyone to hear me, and now I know why.
Yeah.
Society taught me that.
Right.
So, now it's about realizing that, wow, I can talk about things that I wasn't allowed to before. Um, but yeah, and that I wasn't crazy. That was the other thing,
Yeah.
and then, just to realize all the pain that I went through, grinding my teeth, having the anxiety. I was experiencing severe blood loss. So, my body producing white and red blood cells, it was like a full time factory going, full speed. I would, feel warm and fluctuations from when I would lose and when I was rebuilding. So it was difficult to trust your feelings about things. And I'm glad that I hung in there and time did tell.
Yeah.
Time did tell.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does. I think one of the things that I would like to express to other women, particularly young women who maybe haven't had the time to develop some of the issues I did, speak up. We know when something is not right in our bodies, and we need to really speak up and be absolutely belligerent about it if you have to, because we have to take care of ourselves first. I am a very lucky living example of our failed medical system in the
Yeah.
US. And it went back to my early adulthood with being dismissed by doctors. And I would go in and say, well, I've got this pain and, I don't know what this is. And there's, here's an antidepressant, and that's not the way women should be accepting being treated. We don't need to accept that. We have to speak up. I can't talk, for ourselves. And I think you and I both had similar things where it probably would have been easier had they listened to us instead of, yeah, dismissing.
Absolutely. I mean, just, you know, having an understanding of just symptoms, telltale symptoms, like how did those go unnoticed?
Right.
Why weren't these things documented in medical journals? And then, when I think of the struggles that women faced in the past, for instance, Judy Garland.
Yeah.
I saw the movie where Renee Zellweger
Yeah,
played her, and oh my gosh, she did such a fabulous
she did.
job. I was just in tears over the portrayal, and that poor woman, what she had to go through. And she died at 51.
Yep.
I mean, you know, from the scrutiny from the tabloids to the people that managed her, oh, just horrible, horrible.
Yep.
And she was so talented. And and I love the things that Brooke Shields just wrote a book, Brooke Shields Can't Age. Naomi Watts just wrote a book about menopause.
Right.
I love fashion, and just watching the morning program, and Stacey London even talked about how menopause was a really different experience for her, that she would have never expected, that she didn't know how to dress. And
Right.
then now she has a QVC line. And, I faced that too. I had endometriosis. And so, I think in a lot of ways that prevented me from enjoying my woman experience.
Right.
I mean, I'm a woman. and I want to be feminine and I want to, as we were talking earlier, like hold space now for that because that was something that was difficult for me to do younger, having shame over the pain that I was experiencing, thinking something was wrong with me. I'm a woman and I'm allowed to be a woman. And, it's nice to finally feel comfortable in my skin enough to say that.
Right.
I love that about Japan. My friend and I rented a kimono in Kyoto, and we went to the temple. And these young girls in their school uniforms came up to us, and they were giggling and wanted to take a photo with us. And I thought, oh, this is just so beautiful, the feminine experience. And I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of the time women are pushed into careers, pushed into you can do this, you can do that, you can do everything all at one time. And that kind
Yes.
of goes back to the multitasking thing we were talking about earlier. It's not really a good thing, Yes, you can be a businesswoman and raise a family. Absolutely, you can do it. Is it easy? No, it is not easy. I can tell you that. But you can do it. It's a matter of setting your priorities. But it's also a matter of being real with yourself. You know, can I do this? How can I do this better? Because we have to have time for ourselves. We have to have time to get in touch with our bodies and do a scan. I do energy scans on myself all the time now. It's just needed that women have a place to talk about this. I've seen a lot of younger women, I think, are probably better at it than we were, or certainly than I was when I was younger. I didn't tell anybody anything. I was like, okay, that's a pain. I'm going to go to the doctor. And I never told my mother, my sisters, nobody, nobody knew because I kind of felt like the doctor was going to dismiss me. Whereas
Yes.
now younger women are like telling the stranger on the street, there's a problem. It's just a different kind of a culture that I'm seeing that the younger people have. And I think that's beautiful. If you
I
are
do.
secure enough in your femininity, in your body, in who you are, that you're going to say, this is wrong. Have you ever had this? This is wrong in me. Or have you ever felt this? And they compare notes more than we did, I think.
Well, yes. I have held positions as a retail store manager, and I do like that. I could be a positive influence on different generations and just have an acute sense of what they may be going through and just offer support. We can't always be business all the time.
Mm.
And we grew up where, you have to leave your personal problems at
Right,
home and you're not allowed to be human. But, I think COVID made a lot of people angry about what they lost and they got very defensive. And I think what we do need now is healing and more love and support in a sincere way, and just to realize that these have a ripple effect on
right.
everyone. They really do because I mean, I'm surprised all the time where, I was just finding things that I thought were interesting and posting them, and where people were saying, oh, this has really helped me, and
Right.
thank you. And I didn't even realize that until I
Right,
started receiving messages like that. So that's a really nice thing. And here I was just living.
right, right. And I think we do have more of an impact on those around us than we realize. When I wrote my first book, I didn't really intend for anybody else to read it. I was like, no, this is for me. But when I put it out there, because I always felt like, and probably because we were taught to leave our problems at home, I always felt like I was the only person on the planet going through what I went through. And when I released that first book, I was getting messages from, thank you for writing this, and wow, this is me, and wow, and and I did find out that I have a whole other family I never knew I had, just from those experiences that I have in common with these people. So I get what you're saying. When I started on social media, it was, my ex tells people, he did at the time, tell people I was drug kicking and screaming because I was very, very, very private. I was like, I don't want to share that. People will make fun of me. People will hate me. People won't get it. And I found that I was wrong. People did appreciate it. And I remember the very first time someone messaged me on Facebook and said, thank you, that post resonated. And I was like, I and like, whoa. But it's so important to keep putting out things that resonate with each of us. Because when
It
we do that,
Yeah, it really is. Oh, I can't even, when I started, it was really interesting just even joining Facebook.
yeah.
It was about 14 years ago.
Mhm.
And somehow this friend from India created this group called oh, I can't even remember the name. It'll come to me. But and I ended up meeting all these people, and we're all still friends to this day.
Yeah.
And I that was around when The Secret came out, and I
Yeah.
was studying, all of this information. And it's so fun how the community grew. And then one time someone shared a post of mine, and I ended up getting 1,000 followers overnight and receiving messages like it was a spiritual master class.
Yeah.
Oh, I remembered the name of the group now, Sane and Simple.
Mhm.
And it was before memes, and it's so funny because a lot of the mantras were turned into memes. and
Yeah.
and then memes really worked out for me because I was just always known as just this silly little fashion chick, and memes were a way of expressing without people seeing me
Right.
and judging me, and just seeing words that resonated with me. And it gave people more a different insight of what someone like me could really be like in the world. There's more depth to me, there's more depth to everyone. And
Yep.
that's what we have to realize
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, we need to start realizing we're all connected. We are all connected in some way energetically, and we need to start acting like that, I think, sometimes. But I do love the content that you put out, and so many people now are putting out positive content and things that make you realize if this person in another country puts out a post and it resonates deeply with you, that tells you we are more alike than we are different. And
It is true.
yeah,
It's
so
true.
uh, to me, that's the important thing about social media. I know so many people say, oh, it's negative, it's horrible. I don't have that experience, but I think I look for the positive people. I don't look at
Yeah. Well, you know what? It has changed over time. I found in the beginning I used to get frustrated at people complaining and saying things, and trying to steer them in a better direction and getting frustrated by that too. So I have to realize people need to have their own experience.
yeah, definitely.
Although, I do still try to intervene here and there. I've had some experiences recently. Like I sent something to someone that I cared about, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I was just talking about that to my
Yeah,
mom on the phone." And that is so cool when that happens,
yeah,
because you always take a chance on people. You really do. But I do feel now my feed is just great,
yeah,
and my Google feed, and just even YouTube. It's like everything is great. Instagram, it's just great. So I don't get to see negative things anymore, and I love that. The algorithm worked out for me.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't see that. Every once in a while, I will get a message, a private message on some platform that I'm like, huh, but usually I don't. For a very long time, I was getting messaged marriage proposals from
Yeah.
Eastern men. And I'm like, has this ever worked for you guys? Ever? But other than that, and I haven't gotten that in a while either, but I think you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's for me, social media is, if I and there have been many times, I've been through a lot in the last couple of years, um, where I have had just woke up, didn't want to wake up, didn't want to get up. I have animals, so I have to get up and feed them. And I would get on social media and find 5 things immediately that made me feel better.
It helps me too. It really does. And that is actually the drive that makes me continue to
Yeah,
do it, because it is kind of, we're, in some circles, more of a dead platform. But somehow my cohort is still there, and that's who I'm speaking to. And I do have some younger followers also
yeah,
that tell me that I'm a mentor to them, and I really appreciate that. I'm just trying to post wellness. I have another page called Fashion, Food, and Fitness, and those are passions of mine.
yeah,
And when I like products, I post them. And just even recently, I'm taking energy bits, and I feel it's really helping me. I'm getting a lot of compliments on my skin. And I'm not selling this product. Even I do multi-level marketing with LifeWave, but I haven't really expanded on it other than just using it
yeah,
myself. But and these are just things that I do to be in charge of my vehicle, as we say.
yeah,
It took a long time to learn how to drive it. And
yes.
hopefully I'll continue to do so. Keep her running real well.
Yeah, I think we're about out of time. The countdown is at -3. So, but but
Yeah.
but thank you so much for being
Aw,
on.
thank you for being interested, as I say. And another motto of mine is, let's share information so we could learn together.
Right, right.
Uh, because it does help. I mean, studies have shown that having support really add to our life force, and we need that,
We
and we
do.
don't have to do it all alone, even though we know why we did that in the past,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we do. And it's an important message that you're sharing. So thank you for everything that you do. I think that will do us. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will put Nina's Facebook link in the description of the show. Please check it out. Always positive stuff over there. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kelly. It was my pleasure.
Bye, guys.
Bye.